Good morning. So today I'll be dedicating the day purely to the dollar index. But before we take a deep dive on the charts, let's go through the seasonality for the dollar. Having inserted the seasonal tendency chart for the dollar index, we can see during the month of August that we've been extremely bullish from the low that we made in July. And looking at the tendency, towards the end of the month of August, we see a sharp drop, then another increase, another high at the beginning of September before we see a drop during the month of September. And this actually aligns with a few other things that I have been looking at. But putting this aside, in the last few weeks, we've been looking to see if we can see higher prices in the dollar. We were targeting these relative equal highs sitting here, this buy side liquidity, which we can see how we beautifully purged. At the lower time frames, we were targeting the volume imbalance, which is also a new day opening gap sitting in here, which we also targeted, and now we are close to taking out this buy side liquidity. So in my mind, we've been bullish for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and probably 7th this week, which we'll get into soon. But we've been bullish for so long, for 7 weeks in a row or 6 weeks in a row, that a retracement into the range is feasible. A retracement into the range is something logical. We may see a possible closure above this buy side liquidity, and a possible drop to the weekly CB before a continuation at the later parts of September and of course of the year. But that's for later on. I just wanted to quickly highlight how September statistically seemed to bring a drop in the dollar index. Now that we've seen that, going to the Treasury Bonds, I was using this as my correlation on whether we will see higher dollar or not. And we can see that as we've been trading lower and lower and lower, and finally took out the buy side liquidity, the sell side liquidity for the last week and this week, it seems that we are looking bullish. It seems like we are finally took out the sell side and retracing back into the range. We may fall lower, but at the moment it seems like we're retracing back into the range. Of course squeezing looking out from a monthly perspective, we'll still have this sell side liquidity sitting here, and we have this other block with a fair value gap, a tiny fair value gap there, but it's there in that range. So I'm looking specifically for this level. Let me pull it out in price. And I'm not sure how many weeks or months it might take to get there, but I'm looking to see if we can get to this level. But looking again from a weekly perspective, we've already taken out the sell side liquidity and looking a bit bearish now. So this might be the first indication that the dollar might start dipping back into the range. Of course, this applies with the 30 years, they've all taken out sell side liquidity, and the 10-year future, T-note futures, and US 30. We've also taken out the buy side liquidity on this one, and also looking a bit bearish going into the range. So these these three and the seasonal tendency confluence together makes me feel that the bullish run that we've been having on the dollar index might be coming to an end soon. But that's not what I'm focusing on in this video. I'm not saying that we're going to get a complete pull down to take out this swing low, but I mean the continual bullish closure of each week might be coming to an end in a sense of retracement back into the range, then a continuation later on, of course, ultimately looking for this monthly sell side inefficiency, which we'll get to later. But going down to the starting off with the weekly chart, actually, we saw us trading into this sell side inefficiency from this candlestick's low to this candlestick's high. There's a tiny inefficiency, the CB, which we pulled here to the right, and I wanted us to trade on it, use it as support for higher prices. So of course, now going into this week, I don't expect us to come all the way back here anymore, and I would rather see us essentially do an immediate rebalance at most from this candlestick's high. An immediate rebalance essentially is when we don't create a fair value gap, we don't create a BC. It's essentially when price comes to the previous candle, perfectly hits the top of it at this level, then it ejects upwards from there. So this is the most I'm expecting from this week. I don't expect us to go below this line. Going down to the daily chart, this is also supported because that line is in this bullish order block, perfectly inside of this bullish order block. So if I was to give a trade setup, I would be entering anywhere in this range from this wick to body. Of course, we could also trade inside the body and buy it up, but I don't want to see the low of this candlestick taken out, and this would be the target, the buy side liquidity. So another thing I wanted to point out was the daily volume imbalance, or the new day opening gap that we created here on the 7th of June 2023. A volume imbalance is only rebalanced when we have the body of a down close candle and an up close candle over it. And looking to the right, yesterday we got a down close candle over it, so it's now 50% balanced, and I'm expecting today to close bullish, therefore making this volume imbalance perfectly balanced. And of course, these ones that were created now, the new day opening gaps and stuff. Today is Tuesday, so I'm expecting today to create the low of the week. Yes, yesterday was Monday, today Tuesday. We've technically done it so far. If this low is going to hold, then I'll go down to the 30 minutes chart. I was actually looking at these levels, and I'm looking at how during the Asia session we took the low as a turtle soup for those that were trying to catch the low when when the dollar index was falling off. Somebody tried to catch the low and buy it up. It went up for a bit, then took out the low again. And at this point, we had a market structure shift because a swing high was taken. A swing high involves three candlesticks, where the one in the middle is higher than the two to the right and left of it, which we can see here clearly. So a swing high was taken, and that caused the market structure shift. I have this inversion fair value gap, this CB from this candlestick's low to this candlestick's high, pulled it to the right, and we can see right now we are immediately rejecting off of it. So If this is going to be the low of the week, I don't want to see us create another low. But tomorrow is Wednesday and we do still have the possibility of creating yet another low tomorrow. I'm not going to make this video any longer than this because I'm essentially just looking for higher prices, and I've highlighted the levels I would like to see hold and the levels I don't want to see taken. Of course, this confluences with everything else that I'm trading, from the USD CAD to Euro USD. I can see we didn't even get the retracement I was looking for, because I was looking to see if we could get a retracement into this balanced price range, this inversion fair value gap to sell from, but we didn't get that yet. And GBP USD, similar structure. We took out this high, I believe, the Asia high, then immediately rejected after taking it out. And this Asia high actually coincides with the consequent encroachment of this very long week from the events going on Friday last week. Looking at that, the cyan color, this blue color, is the 50% mark, and we can see how we respected it twice. So I believe the high of day, even if it's not the high of week, but the high of day has been printed at this point. But of course, we'll look to see if anything happens from here. I was looking to see if I could take this trade when this high was purged, but of course I wasn't on the charts at the time. And on Euro, I mentioned that I was looking to see if we could get a retracement back into this 30 minutes inversion fair value gap, but we didn't get that either, which is fine with me either way. So moving on to the indices, very similar structure. Well, not the same structure, of course not, but similar targets, similar goals, similar everything that I was looking to see. I don't want us to take out this high, which was created on Thursday of last week on the Nasdaq, and then on ES, I'm expecting this fair value gap here to hold. I don't want to see any candlesticks body close outside of it. So I'm looking intensely at this specific level because of the reasons I highlighted in the previous videos, just like here where we have this CB. Don't want to see a candlestick body close outside of this CB. So that's all I'm looking for on ES and Nasdaq, targeting these lows from Friday 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. But my main target on Nasdaq is actually this BC, this buy side imbalance below these two relative equal lows. So I want to see if we can get there and possibly get a push up from there. I'm not sure how far up we'll go, but we may get a pushback from there, considering the breakdown that I gave earlier from the dollar index. So this is all correlated with the dollar index. Nothing I've said so far is outside of the plan, outside of what I'm looking at. So still paying attention to all these levels, and yeah, I have not taken any trades yet, so we'll see how the day closes, how the week closes, and what opportunities we may get from there. For now, that's all from my part. Good luck and good trading.